Hi, I'm Robert Snyder, and I've authored a couple of historical novels on Niagara Falls, and we're here today. We thought we'd do a little memoriam on some of the daredevils that have risked their lives and some that have lost their lives on this Memorial Day weekend. And so you'll be seeing some images of some of the daredevils as this video progresses. It was only a couple of weeks ago that Nick Wallenda was asked if he would consider being tethered to the tightrope, and his response was that he would never employ that kind of safety precaution. To his credit, he never has in the past. The reason is crystal clear, and it is because, excuse the pun, he lives or dies by playing the death card. First of all, he comes from a family of performers with a tragic history. Bad for them, good for him, because he uses that reputation to his advantage. It establishes his vulnerability and puts the thought in the head of the observers that perhaps there is a curse or a jinx on this family. Nick Wallenda comes from that legacy. It is that heritage that embraces the danger he faces every time he gets on a wire. People think to themselves, maybe today is the day the family curse gets him. He also knows that it is imperative that he exploit the risk factor, because while there is no denial that walking the high wire is a potentially fatal proposition, the physical act itself is almost mind-numbingly boring to watch. Watching somebody place one foot in front of the other while carrying a balancing pole is not visually thrilling. Nothing to see here. Move along, folks. Although it requires an inordinate amount of skill, most people couldn't stay on a wire for 2 steps. Most people recognize the expertise needed, and most seem to have an appreciation of the difficulties involved. But it is the risk of death that compels them to watch. Take that away, and much of the interest goes with it. That speaks to the motive of the audience, and unfortunately this is an indictment on our society, that they are not there to see a successful conclusion, but they want to be there in case he falls. And Nick Wallenda, in particular, his family history and Niagara Falls and its history increase the possibility of that happening. Attaching a tether eliminates those possibilities, and with it any compelling reason to watch. Oh sure, there will still be the backdrop of Niagara Falls and the history of the event, and the initial curiosity will get many people to tune in, but less people will make the trek to see it live, and I believe people watching on TV will get bored quickly. If the practice sessions in the parking lot of the Niagara Falls Seneca Casino are any barometer, curiosity was the main motivation. Interest was poor at best. There were sparse crowds, and the audience attention waned quickly. Why so? The wire was not very far off the ground, and there was no imminent danger. However, many of the people that showed up and displayed little interest in this event said that they would definitely watch on June 15th. The reason they gave was that that's when it counts. Translated, that's when his life will be on the line. Attaching the tether is a huge mistake and will drastically alter the complexion of this event. Aside from the elimination of the risk factor, the other question that needs to be asked is, can this be considered a true tightrope crossing? If you are tethered to the wire, it certainly cannot be regarded in the same measure as Blondin, who carried people across the wire, or a Signor Farini, neither of whom had any safety measures in place. Where's the challenge in all of this? The conquering of the elements, the summoning up of the requisite concentration. In fact, one of the reasons that Carl Wallenda, the patriarch of the family, never used safety nets was that he felt that it led to a lack of concentration. And where is the overcoming of the fear? It takes an extraordinary person of skill and daring to accomplish such a feat, and that is what Niagara generally requires of its daredevils. A tether not only diminishes the exceptionality of the performer, but also of the venue. If you offer others the safety of the tether, stunters of ordinary ilk would crawl out of the woodwork to give it a try. What's there to lose? Nothing. There was a time when a barge was stuck in the upper rapids above the falls with 2 men inside. By the way, that barge is still there today, and a rope was strung out to it, and the men shimmied along the rope to safety. Should they be considered tightropists as well? Their lives were probably more at risk than Wallenda's will be. Why would Wallenda agree to the tether? Some say he's more interested in the payday that is being attached to the walk. Hard to believe that if he refused ABC, they would pull the plug on this event. He could also claim that logistically the tether would be difficult to maneuver around the stabilizing guy wires. Others say that he might have gotten cold feet. He might have begun to sense the exceptionalism of Niagara. I have been saying that from the beginning that there's a presence here unlike anywhere else, and it has to be factored in. Maybe Wallenda is beginning to get a sense of that same vibration. Maybe it has put some doubt in his mind and dented his confidence. Maybe the condition set down by ABC was genuine. However, the other possibility is that maybe it was fabricated. Either way, it is often an excuse for Wallenda to take the safer route. It offered him a chance to duck under the apron strings. After all, he does have a wife and 3 children. It is reported that he also has plans to cash in on future exhibitions here at the Falls. But you can't do that if you're dead. Regardless, this decision is going to have serious repercussions on the credibility of the performance and the audience investment.